Retirement year. Officially, they were called retirees, but the processor referred to them as relics when not dealing with them, and he despised them. He hated their stupid questions, ridiculous requests, and how you had to repeat the obvious. But most of all, he hated their antiquated belief systems. The rest of the world had evolved. Why not them? He would send them all back to the Stone Age if he could, but he was a processor. It was his job to make them happy, or, if that was not possible, accept their circumstances. Why can't we go where the Hendersons went? Again, he thought, I have to explain this again. There are no openings for 1972. Well, why the hell not? The male relic asked. Hell, I am not familiar with the word. This was a lie. The processor was familiar with the word, and had asked several relics in the past to explain it to him. The purpose of his claim of ignorance was to display their own. No one believed in the superstitions they did, and he felt a social obligation to educate them. Besides, it was easier to listen to their explanation of what hell was than to make them understand that retirement openings only became available when retirees sent to that year died. Hell, it's a place you're going. Calm down, honey. The female relic was speaking now. Where can you send us? Us. She was using that word again. There is only one opening for 1988. What the hell happens in 1988? The old male interrupted. I can show you a media presentation if you like. No more videos. Maybe the Hendersons will still be there, the old female said. 16 years? Not probable, the processor said. Well, the female said, face flushed red. At least we'll be together. The female tapped the old male's hands. How can they not understand this yet? There is only one opening. There's just us. There are two of you. This is a single opening for 1988. But we're married. Yes, and the Department of Naturalization has been diplomatic enough to allow your behavior to continue. Allow it? The old male shouted. We've been married for 52 years. Married before you were mixed together in a test tube. Gary, you sit there and talk like a damn computer. Talk about marriage like it's something to be ashamed of. Gary. What? This isn't helping. The female relic was patting the male's hands again. It was something you might do to a pet. Strange. Where can you send us? The female asked. Where can you send us where we can still be together? The processor looked down at their electronic file on his desk screen before him. He had already memorized it. Finally, he said, There isn't anywhere, not with the female's medical condition. Jean. What? Her name is Jean. She's a person. And I'm Gary. We've got goddamn names. Nobody uses names anymore, and we were instructed not to address you by your identification number, that your kind finds it offensive. She's Jean and I'm Gary. Not hard to remember. Way easier than memorizing a number. For you, I am sure, but we have different programming. Programming? No one was programmed when I was growing up. We were raised. The term we use is of no consequence. What matters is the reality of what is taking place. Whether it be by computers or humans, we are all programmed. It is just the efficiency of the result that is different. You mean, does it make you a robot or not? Gary, just because you gave up on your humanity. Gary, I love you, but shut the hell up. The old male stopped talking and looked at the female relic. There was a look of surprise on his old, wrinkled face. I want you to go to 1988, the old female said. I'll choose some other year. No, this ain't right. You've got to give us more time. They always want more time. He primed the electro seat. There was a control unit under the desk, and the processor did not need to look at it to set the charge. He set it for 250,000 volts, plenty for a male his age, and unlikely to kill. You had 6 months. You were advised to be processed early. told the probability of having more options if you came in sooner, but you waited until the last hour of the last day. We wanted more time with our children, our grandchildren. If he stands, put him down. And you had it. We're never going to see them again. But you are making room for them, providing a place for them in the future. And now you must decide where you wish to retire. We need an extension. The processor shook his head, his finger on the trigger button. The relic's seat primed. There are no extensions. This ain't right. I want to talk to someone else. The old male put his hands on the chair's armrests and prepared to stand. The processor was ready, but the female relic looked at him behind his desk. There was a look of recognition on that old face, like an animal that senses danger. The female cupped her hands on the old man's right arm. The male looked into the face of his mate and remained seated. If you don't stop, you know what they'll do. The old female whispered this, but the processor heard it. Listen to your female. The old male glared at the processor, eyes watery with rage or despair, or both. You go to 1988. I'll be fine. But I won't. Tears fell from the old male's eyes. They held hands, looking into each other's faces like confused animals. They did this for several moments, ignoring the processor. Rude. The old male smiled and said, I still remember the first day I laid eyes on you. I'd never seen anyone more beautiful in all my life. I wanted to ask you to marry me right then. Not say another word first. Just walk up and ask you to spend the rest of your life with me. It took all I had not to say such a damned fool thing. You would have thought me crazy. Probably, but I would have said yes. The old male smiled and said, There has to be some place nobody goes. The words were directed at the processor, but the relic kept staring into the old female's eyes. Some place with plenty of openings? Yes, but the processor paused. Her medical condition? Send us to the Mesozoic era. Gary? Shouldn't be anyone there retired but dinosaurs. But Gary, this doesn't have to be a death sentence for both of us. I won't go anywhere without you, sweet pea. The old female made some sort of grunting sound, then said, I've always wanted to see dinosaurs. We'll pack some extra medication. How long can our life expectancy be there anyway? 52 hours, the processor said. They looked at him as if he had just entered the room. Will you send us? There was no sadness in the voice of the old male. It was as if he were asking for a favor. If you sign the required documents, I will send you. A release of liability document appeared on the glass table screen. As the computer sped read the document's contents, the processor handed the old male an electro-pen. The relic's hands were shaky, but the old female placed hers on top of his and helped guide the signature. The female relic signed as well. They said nothing else. The processor showed them out, and they left holding hands. He felt strange sitting down at his desk. He thought about how little they differed from the animals he sometimes watched in the zoo. Still, he felt something. He powered down the chair and ushered in the next retiree, a single male. The file was illuminated before him, but he had already memorized it. An alert flashed across his desk screen. It announced a second retirement opening was now available for 1988. The couple who had just left could go there if he locked in the reservation. They would not be with their beloved Hendersons, but they could spend the rest of their natural lives there. Who knows how long they would have? If the old female had her medication, their lives could go on for several years of retirement. For this to happen, the processor would need to update his report, call them back in, and talk to them again. He contemplated this. He looked at the relic sitting in front of him and said, Let me tell you about 1988. If you enjoy the power of stories, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and consider purchasing my book, Hitching Devils and Other Stories. A link to that short story collection is in the description. What are we without our stories?